Americans often dive for Dungeness crab, Metacarcinus magister, on the west coast, especially in states like California, Oregon, and Washington. It is a popular activity, but it requires skill and proper equipment. Here are the basic steps that divers usually follow. Wetsuit. To keep the body warm and protected when diving in cold water, divers usually use a wetsuit or dry suit. Snorkel and mask, so that the diver can breathe and see underwater. Flippers help the diver move more easily underwater. Crab sack, a mesh or cloth bag to hold the crabs caught. Gloves, to protect the hands when catching crabs, since Dungeness crabs have strong claws. Site selection. Diver often choose areas close to shore, where there are rocks or coral reefs. These areas are often where Dungeness crabs hide. The ideal time to dive is in the winter or early spring, when Dungeness crabs are in season and are more mobile. Diving and crabbing techniques. The diver slowly approaches the crab, trying not to scare it away. Use your hands or a light tool to catch the crab, then quickly place the crab in a bag.
It's definitely not the best video footage, editing, and audio, but ultimately I just hope to add.
Observe and select crabs that meet the required size, usually about 6.25 inches, or 15.9 centimeters across the shell. Regulations and environmental protection. In many states, there are clear regulations on the number of crabs a diver is allowed to catch in a day. Only male crabs should be caught and those that are large enough to ensure the crab population is maintained. Release female crabs, especially those that are carrying eggs. Dungeness crab diving is an exciting and rewarding experience, but local regulations and respect for the natural environment are essential to ensure sustainability. Diving for crabs, especially Dungeness crabs, requires specialized knowledge and skills to ensure safety and effective capture. Here is a more detailed guide to crab diving techniques and procedures. Research the dive site. Before diving, divers should thoroughly research the site, including depth, currents, water temperature, and crab presence. Popular sites are shallow waters near the shore, with rocks or seagrass, which are the preferred habitats for Dungeness crabs. Scuba. For deep diving, divers need to use oxygen tanks to ensure they have enough air when underwater for long periods of time. Wetsuit. Dry suits are often preferred in colder waters because they keep you warmer than wetsuits. Diving lights. If diving in dark waters or at night, a diving flashlight is essential for illumination and finding crabs. Diving knife. A diving knife is a safety tool to prevent accidents or untangle entangled in seaweed or old nets. Dive slowly and breathe evenly. When starting a dive, divers need to keep their breathing even and move slowly so as not to stir up the sand or water, making it easier to observe and avoiding scaring crabs. Observe the surrounding environment. Crabs often hide in crevices of rocks, under seagrass, or under sand. Divers need to patiently observe small details, looking for signs of crabs such as tracks on the sand or a part of the crab's body protruding from its hiding place. Approach the crab gently. When detecting a crab, the diver should approach from behind or from an angle where the crab is not easily seen. Crabs are capable of moving quickly when they feel threatened, so approaching gently will make catching the crab easier. Using hands. The most common way is to use your hands directly to catch the crab. The diver should hold the crab firmly from behind to avoid being pinched. If unsure, thick gloves can be used to protect the hands. Using a net or tool. Some divers use a small net or crab catching tool to grip and catch the crab more safely, especially when the crab is hidden in hard-to-reach places. Check the crab's size and sex. After catching the crab, the diver should check the crab's size to ensure that it meets the minimum requirements according to regulations. Only male crabs of suitable size should be retained and female crabs, especially those carrying eggs, should be released. Ensure safety and conserve resources. During the dive, divers must keep themselves safe and respect the marine environment, avoiding harming other creatures or destroying crab habitats. Manage crab catch. Comply with the limit on the number of crabs caught in a day to ensure that marine resources are not overexploited. Practice diving skills. Crab diving requires solid diving skills, especially when diving deep or in water conditions with strong currents. Divers need to practice regularly and master safety techniques. Pay attention to weather and tides. Weather and tide conditions have a great influence on the safety and ability to dive for crabs. Avoid diving when there are big waves, strong winds, or when the tide is too high or too low. Dive with a partner. Diving for crabs is often safer when you have a partner. This not only helps support the crab catching but also ensures safety in case of an accident. Dungeness crab diving is a challenging but also very interesting activity, requiring participants to have good diving skills, patience and understanding of the crab's habitat. Choose the ideal diving time. The best time to dive for crabs is at dawn or dusk, when the crabs are more active and less disturbed by other factors. In addition, the time after low tide, about 1 to 2 hours, is also when the crabs are often more mobile, making it easier for divers to approach them. Dungeness crabs are highly adaptable. They often hide in the sand or under rocks to avoid predators. Therefore, look for areas with crab tracks moving on the sand or mounds, cracks, and crevices on the seabed. Crab self-defense reflexes. When feeling threatened, crabs can retreat into crevices or under the sand. Divers should take advantage of the moment when crabs are exposed, move slowly and patiently to catch them. Use diving flashlights effectively. In dark water conditions or night diving, diving flashlights not only help divers see clearly but can also be used to blind crabs, making them less likely to run away. Light the flashlight gently and not too suddenly so as not to scare the crabs. Hold the crab firmly from behind. To avoid being pinched by the crab, always approach from behind the crab. The grip should be firm but not too strong to avoid injuring the crab. Use both hands if necessary. For large crabs or crabs in difficult to reach locations, it may be necessary to use both hands for safety and better control. Use the current. If diving in an area with a gentle current, use the current to move without expending too much energy. This helps divers save oxygen and maintain strength for a long time. Stay alert and focused. Diving underwater, especially in deep water, requires divers to stay alert and focused to avoid dangers such as getting caught in old nets, colliding with underwater objects, or getting stuck in crevices of rocks. Check your oxygen level regularly. When using an oxygen tank, always monitor the remaining oxygen level to ensure safety. Divers need to know when to stop diving and return to the surface to avoid running out of air. Use hand signals. When diving with a partner, using hand signals is very important for underwater communication. Make sure both of you understand basic signals such as asking for help, warning of danger, or signaling the end of the dive. Pay attention to changes in the body. If you feel tired, dizzy, or have any unusual signs, you should stop diving immediately and return to the surface safely. Check the results. After returning to the surface, you should check the number and size of crabs caught, making sure they comply with regulations on size and quantity. Handling crabs immediately after catching. Dungeness crab should be kept in cold seawater immediately after catching to maintain freshness.
I går dykket vi her, hentet 20 krabber. Yes.
Many divers use containers with seawater and ice to preserve the crabs until returning to shore. Reporting and complying with the law. Some areas require divers to report the number of crabs caught during the day. Always follow local regulations to protect the resource and avoid legal penalties. Processing crabs. Dungeness crabs are highly valued for their flavor and nutritional value. Once caught, crabs can be processed into many delicious dishes such as steamed crabs, grilled crabs, or stir-fried crabs with different spices.
Hur många har du? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Det är bra. Ja, det är bra. Ja.
Share experiences. Crab diving is an interesting activity that many people are passionate about. Sharing experiences and achievements with the diving community can bring a lot of fun and learn new techniques. Crab diving not only requires good diving skills but also requires patience, understanding of crab behavior and careful preparation. With the above techniques and tips, you will be able to increase your chances of catching big and delicious Dungeness crabs, while experiencing a memorable and safe dive.
Oj. Ja, den var en bra rygg. Ja, den är bra en. Ja. Vi må gå på land här.
Crab traps are a popular and effective method, especially for species such as Dungeness crabs. They are inexpensive, easy to set up, and do not require much diving skill. Here are some detailed instructions on how to catch crabs using traps. Ring trap. This is a simple, lightweight trap that is circular in shape with 2 stacked steel or plastic rings. When dropped into the water, the rings open to form a basket. When pulled up, the rings fold back, trapping the crabs inside.
Fortell for oss. Nå har vi akkurat tatt tau i propellen, så det er jo...
Pot trap. This is the most common and effective trap. The cage trap is shaped like a box or cage with 1 or 2 entrances. Crabs can easily enter through the entrances but cannot get out. Box trap. This is a rectangular or square trap with a one-way entrance. The crabs will be trapped after entering the trap. Choose bait. Fresh fish or scraps. Crabs love the fishy smell of fish, especially mackerel or sardines. You can use fresh fish or scraps as bait. Chicken. Fresh or used chicken is a popular bait, easy to find and also very attractive to crabs. Animal organs. Organs such as liver and intestines can also be used to attract crabs. Supporting tools. Pulling rope. The pulling rope is often attached to the trap to make it easy to release and pull the trap from the water surface. Use a strong parachute cord or nylon rope to ensure safety. Marker buoy. Attach a buoy to the end of the pulling rope to easily find the trap once it has been released into the water. The buoy should be brightly colored and can be labeled with a name or phone number for identification. Flashlight or lighting equipment. If catching crabs at night, a flashlight is necessary to see the trap clearly and operate easily. Choose shallow water areas, close to the shore, where there are rocks, seaweed or sand. These are areas where crabs often live and move a lot. Drop the trap at a depth of 3 to 15 meters is ideal. Dungeness crabs often live at this depth, near the seabed. Time to drop the trap. Low tide. The time after low tide is the ideal time to drop the trap, because crabs often move more to find food. Night or early morning. Crabs are active at night and early morning, so dropping the trap at this time will increase the chance of catching more crabs. Place the bait in the middle or in a separate compartment of the trap. Make sure the bait is firmly attached so that it does not fall out when the trap is lowered into the water. Slowly lower the trap into the water, using the pull rope to adjust the speed of the trap. Make sure the trap touches the seabed gently. Attach a marker buoy to the end of the pull rope, then drop the buoy into the water. Make sure the buoy floats on the water surface and is easily recognizable. Collect the trap. After releasing the trap for 1 to 3 hours, you can start collecting the trap. If caught at night, the trap can be left overnight and collected in the early morning. Pull the trap up slowly to avoid scaring the crabs and causing them to escape. When pulling up, keep the pull cord vertical so the trap does not tip over. Check the trap to see how many crabs have been caught. If you do not achieve the desired number, you can release the trap in another location. Measure the size of the crabs to ensure compliance with the minimum size regulations. For Dungeness crab, a minimum shell width of 6.25 inches, 15.9 centimeters, is usually required. Release female crabs, especially those carrying eggs, to ensure the crab population is maintained. Storing crabs. After capture, crabs should be kept in a container with cold seawater or ice to keep them fresh. Do not leave crabs out of water or exposed to direct sunlight for too long, as this can kill the crabs and affect the quality of the meat. Follow local regulations. Each state or region may have its own regulations regarding minimum size, number of crabs allowed to be caught in a day, and types of traps used. Find out and follow them to avoid fines and protect marine resources. Traps must be marked. Make sure your traps are clearly marked with your name and contact information, especially when setting traps in crowded areas. Protect the environment. When setting traps, avoid damaging coral reefs, seaweed, or other marine life. Always clean up and take away any trash after you have finished catching crabs. Catching crabs with traps is an effective and fun method that not only yields delicious crabs but also gives you the opportunity to experience nature and enjoy relaxing moments at sea. Boiled crab can be eaten immediately after cooking, with salt, pepper, lemon, fish sauce, or your favorite seafood sauce. The crab meat is sweet, soft, and retains its natural flavor. Other dishes. Salt-fried crab. After boiling, the crab can be processed into salt-fried crab by sprinkling salt and frying it briefly to increase crispiness. Tamarind stirred crab. Boiled crab meat can be stir-fried with tamarind, sugar, and other spices to create a sweet and sour tamarind stirred crab dish. Garlic butter crab. Boiled crab is then stir-fried with butter, garlic, and other spices to create a fragrant garlic butter crab dish. Notes when eating crab. When eating, use scissors or a small knife to cut the crab shell. Peel the shell carefully so as not to break the crab meat. The crab fat inside the shell is also very delicious and nutritious, and can be used to make sauce or eaten with crab meat. If not eaten immediately, boiled crab can be stored in the refrigerator for about 1 to 2 days. To preserve, wrap the crab in foil or plastic wrap and place in the refrigerator. Reheat. When ready to eat, crab can be reheated by steaming or boiling to retain moisture and flavor. Boiling crab is one of the simple ways to prepare crab but still retains the fresh, natural sweetness of the crab meat. Combined with the right spices, you will have a dish that is both nutritious and attractive.